realizing the police was there, and there was a body. When I went in, I said, "Does anyone know who it is?" And they said no. It's okay. But he was part of this body. See, Michael was part of this body. That's why I tell you, and I want to share with you, that this place matters. We're not joking around. This is not a game. This is a place that we come to be together because it matters. And that we need each other. And I say that because I met Justin how many years ago here for the first time. And your testimony and what you do matters, my friend. And we're blessed to have Justin Halas here tonight because this brother goes at it. And we should cheer each other on, and we should hold each other, and we should be here for one another. And when we need each other, we cry out for one another. Amen? See, that's what's different. This isn't a place to be fake. This is a place where we need one another and we need Jesus. We're unashamed about that. And if you're on your journey, man, just stick it in. Just keep trying. Be open. Be willing. Be honest. And we're with you on this journey. But Justin, man, I'm so pleased to say, come on up here, brother. We are so blessed to have Justin Halas. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Love you too, man. All right, what's up, everybody? Good to be here. Great to, I'm just honored for this opportunity. Unfortunately, that was a rough opening to start with, so my heart goes out to those of you in here that knew him, that were, someone special to you. Man, me and my brother were talking about earlier before the meeting, we're all one wrong decision from being in that same place. So, to what Brian said, it's not a joke. It's not a game, man. I take my sobriety very, very seriously. I was a 15-year drug addict. Coming up the end of November here, I'll have 10 years clean and sober. And that's all God, man. If it wasn't for Jesus, I'd be dead or in prison for the rest of my life. And, I want to share some things with you, just part of my story, and we'll kind of get into it here. First, I want to share with you what I do today. So High on Jesus is weekly recovery meetings that we have. They're every Wednesday night from 7 to 8:30. That's at First United Methodist Church in downtown Bradenton. So I'd love to have any of you guys over there. I got some business cards and stuff if you it's for the address. And man, we're all about the 12 steps, but we also know the higher power that we're talking about. Hence the name walking in there. So that main message there is every day taking the time out to enter into a relationship with God, focus on our sobriety, and go after a better life. That's what that's all about. And then, along the way, about 7 years ago now, that's how long the organization's been going, I felt God calling me to something more. Because I'm going to speak in the jail, and people are calling me coming off the street or out of a program. Man, like, I want to change. I want to do something different, but I don't know what I'm going to do when I get out. Like, I have no money. I have no friends, no family to help me out. Like, what do you think I should do? And I'm like, I don't know, man. The sober living houses cost money. I'm not really plugged into anything. And so then I felt like God saying, we got to do something about this. So Hand Up to Victory is a nonprofit organization that we have. And basically we help people coming out of jail, off of the streets, out of a program. People, like I said, that have no other option, that want to make a change but have no resources, no one to help them out. So we help people to get into safe, sober living homes. We help out with some of the funds to get that started. There's many people in this room that we helped out through that organization. organization, and we do more than that. We help out with food, clothing, hygiene products, cell phones, IDs, full-time jobs. So I think that's a very important part of this process to help people become self-sustaining members of society again. And I just thank God that I found my purpose, and I try to help other men and women to find their purpose as well. So when Alan asked me to speak, asked me to share some of my testimony and some of my story, and so I felt led to, I just want to share some things that I learned along the way, and I pray that God uses it to help you in some way, shape, or form. Basically, how it was, I don't like to spend a lot of time there. I feel like I can sum up how it was for every single one of us in this room by saying, like, we used a massive amount of drugs and alcohol and ruined our lives and everyone's life around us. Like, the end, right? We're here now. Obviously, I'll share a little bit of that. But, my parents, they got divorced when I was, starting to grow up around, 14 range. I just remember, our family is like, hey, what's up? How's everything going? Got the beer in the fridge, liquor in the cabinet. And so everybody drank at every occasion. So I just thought that's what you did. And I distinctly remember at 12 years old, me and my buddy going and raiding everyone's leftover drinks at our parents' party. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is it. This is me, right? And then 14, drinking and smoking every day. 15 leads into the harder drugs. But that became my identity. And so I just want to say that like I was kind of, where do I fit in type of thing? Like I assume a lot of us are. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is me. Like I'm the party dude. My life goal is to not be sober for one waking moment. And if I can accomplish that, great. And so that's what everybody knew me at. And then so that was my identity. And man, I share that to say especially if you got kids, man, we got to make sure that we help them know what their identity is, right? Because if they don't know what their identity is, you see my daughter here today, the world's going to tell them what their identity is. And so I'm real with her. I tell her hey, you're a child of God. These are the mistakes that mom and dad made. I want to teach you the stuff so the world doesn't teach you first, and show the next generation out there that, man, that there's an opportunity of a lifetime for you. If you can learn this stuff right now at a young age that it took us years and this long to learn, man, amazing things are going to happen, and God's going to open some great doors for you. No doubt. So, was just partying. That's just what we did. No one really cared because that's what kind of our whole family did. And man, a couple things. I remember I was the best drunk driver in Manatee County till 10/10/04. I had the plaque and everything, 175 with one eye shut. Let's do it. I got you. But unfortunately, that night did not work out that way. And I just remember my friend waking us up. I'd blacked out, totaled a Ford Explorer, almost killed myself and another guy in the vehicle. And so that was my first wake up call. And man, you talk about people dying. People are dying even in sobriety lately. I don't know if any of you guys know Jeff Aronson. He was a guy that was huge in Sarasota AA, but he was 59 years old, man. He had over 25 plus years sober. He just died of a heart attack recently. We got to take care of our health too, guys. I've been speaking about that a lot because we've been neglecting that for a long time. But anyways, Jeff, I love that guy. He took me to my first AA meeting way back then, and I remember my friends, when I got back around everybody, they're like, so what's it like? What do they do over there? I'm like, man, they all need a drink. Everyone just sitting there complaining. I don't, that's not for me. I don't want nothing to do with that. And so it took probably the same thing, I would assume, as most of you in here. It took all the arrests over and over again, multiple time convicted felon. It took losing my son's mom. So my son, man, he was born, he was the most important thing to me. My dad wasn't there in a way that I wanted him to be, and so I just vowed to myself, I'm going to be there for my little man, Jaden, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be there. But unfortunately, the drugs have became top priority. It was opiates and everything else at that point. You know the story. And so that became this little she would leave, I'm done. And I would talk my way back into it, right? No, baby, I'm good. I promise you I'm going to be sober. Like, I'm going to do this, right? She would let me back in, right? One thing would lead to another. Now I'm back at it. 9 months later, she's leaving again, and so on and so forth. I would talk my way back into it. I'm sure some of you know that same exact story, right? All those times were like, you mean it in that moment, like you know you need to be sober, you know you need to make some changes, but you just can't figure it out, man. You haven't gone to that rock bottom place enough. We don't quite have the willingness to do some things differently yet. And so I just remember one of the last stories of the past is man, she had moved to Sarasota this time, and like, I'm done, and come on, baby, take me back. I promise you, I'm done. And so, I did what I did. I wait for her to go to sleep, one night like I always did, and I left, and I came back, and all I remember is like, nodded out on the couch, getting blasted in the face, saying, all your stuff's by the door, like, get out of here, you're never seeing like me or Jaden again. And that really hurt me, man. I don't blame her for that, because that's what she had to do. I drove her to that, but that really hurt me. And I felt like that was the point. There was always kind of a little bit of a line that I wouldn't cross, quote unquote. And when I had to go back out on the street, and when like I knew that I'm never going to see my son again, like, I just didn't care anymore. And so now you're to the point in my story where it's those 9-month to 1 year relapses where like I'm back out there, I'm homeless on the street, ripping and running, robbing and stealing, going crazy, right? To the point of asking myself, man, how did this happen again? Like, Mom, can you please help me? Call old mom. That's like always our go-to, good old mom, right? Beg her to take me in, and what happened? I'd be sober for a few weeks, I'd get the job, first paycheck, right? Get the cell phone, call someone, whatever it was, I'd give into one or something, and before you know it, now I'm sitting there 9 months to a year later. How did this happen to me again, man? And so I've been to every rehab, detox, inpatient, outpatient, every AA meeting that ends in an A, doesn't matter what it was, I did all that. So people always ask me, what was different this time? Like, what was different this time than every other time? And that's the point that I mostly want to share with you. And so I just distinctly remember, like, that moment on the last run when it's like, you got to do the whole process, right? Like, you wake up, you're going through full-blown withdrawal, super sick, you got to do what you got to do, whatever hustle you were into at the time, get this, go sell it here, get the money, hunt the dope man down, and I'll finally go in there and then hit myself with the needle, do all that. And it's like, as soon as I did it, I'm just as miserable as I was before I did it, right? Like that point where it no longer stops, it just stops working, right? It doesn't do anything for me. And I distinctly remember that was my rock bottom. A lot of people talk about the physical, the withdrawals, done that so many times, it just is what it is. It's a few days, you just take it on the chin and just keep it moving. For me, my rock bottom was mental, when like all I could do is like think about it all the time, and like it would just be in my mind, and I wouldn't give up until I finally gave in and did it. And finally, like when that misery that I was trying to get rid of my whole entire life, that misery I lived in 24/7, 365, when what I did finally stopped working and it did nothing for me, and I was just as miserable as I was in this room. Like think about all your past relapses, and I don't know if it went something like this, but like you're out of jail, the street, like, so help, I owe you, right? We're posing outside the meeting, posting pics. I got 7 days, 6 hours sober. Life is good. Pumped. Then all of a sudden, then we got to get a job, and then we got all these responsibilities that come on us, and now all of a sudden I got to get all this stuff back that I lost in the past. I got to go to the gym. I got to do all these other things that we didn't care one iota about 2 or 3 weeks ago while we were out using, right? And suddenly all that stuff takes precedence, and what happens? I had to look back at my life. All of a sudden, I'm too busy to pray. Right? I don't have time to connect with God. The meetings, oh man, I'm working. I got a bunch of good stuff going on. I don't have time to go to meetings. The phone calls, man, I'm not calling anyone. I'm not connecting with anyone in sobriety. And I'm trying to tell you, it's only a matter of time before all those character defects start coming back. And it's that stair-step attack to get us to a place where it sounds like a good idea to use a drink or a drug again. And so, man, we got to guard against complacency with everything we got, guys. Like, if that's you, you're in this room, and you're like, yeah, that's me. I feel that lately. Like I've been pulling back a little bit. Like that's okay. This walk is not about being perfect. This walk is about recognizing, like, I'm starting to get off a little here. Like, I need to dive back in tonight, right? If you're a guy, I need to get a guy's number tonight. You're a woman, I need to get a woman's number tonight. I need to reach back out. I need to go home tonight and say, God, like, I haven't been feeling it lately. I'm just going to be real with you, God. Give me that fire back. I haven't felt anything in the prayer life lately. I haven't felt anything out of the word. God, I'm asking you to show me a sign, like step up and give me that passion back again for you. I promise you pray a prayer like that, and God's going to answer that. So I'm coming out of jail this last time, and when I finally, like I said, had that willingness, I felt like something had changed inside, but yet nothing had changed on the outside. And I had to take that walk of shame out of Manatee County Jail. I guess it's like a golf cart of shame now. They golf cart them all down there. Must be nice. The rest of us had to walk a mile to get all the way down there, and you're trying to figure out, like, what are we going to do? You find the one guy that's got his pack of cigarettes and his cell phone charge, right? You're like, hey, what's up, man? Get a cigarette, use your phone, right? That whole deal. And I don't know who I'm going to call because no one had anything to do. My own mom was like, I'm done with you. Like, when mom's done, you know it's serious, right? I had nobody to call. I didn't know what I was going to do. And honestly, I had to wind up going back out to a place where people were still actively using. And for a lot of us, man, that's almost a guaranteed relapse. But again, like, it was about picking up the phone, calling these people that helped me out in the AA program before and be like, hey man, can you pick me up? Can you give me a ride to a meeting, please? Calling these people from church that had reached out to me in the past and be like, man, can you meet me for coffee? Can you do something to help me out, get out of the place I'm at, man? I just want to do something differently here. I remember walking outside, and I feel like when we do everything we can, that's when God does the rest for us. And so I'm walking out, and where am I going to go? And I hear, Justin! And I turn, and it's like basically I was a family friend of their whole entire family, right? And it's a girl named Autumn, it's like a sister of mine, and her brother is in the parking lot randomly. There's no coincidences though, God had him there at that exact moment to tell me like, hey, mom died while you were in there. This lady was like my second mom. Glad you're out and I seen you. The funeral is tomorrow morning. You gonna be there? Can I go pick you up? I said, absolutely, man. I need to go, right? And so God had me in that place. It was a smaller church, probably 100-something people there, probably 160 pounds, fresh out of jail, right? And I'm trying to tell you, this pastor, when he was doing the service, like, he was talking right to me. He was talking right to me. I'm bawling, and long story short, me and him connect afterwards. Autumn shared my story with him, and he's like, hey, man, let me help you. Right? And so I had this guy as a spiritual mentor, spiritual sponsor, whatever you want to call it, right? And this guy was able to walk me through this process. I'm going to try to share quickly why that's important. Like, I didn't get 2 weeks sober and suddenly I had like this epic prayer life, right? Like this like wide open Saul to Paul moment, and all of a sudden everything changed. No, my first prayers were just like, God, I don't even know if I can ask you for anything with everything I've done in the past, but can you just keep the thought for a drink or a drug out of my head, because I know what's going to happen if I stick a needle in my arm again, right? We don't have that relationship yet. Someone to help us through that process, that was so important for me, guys. Next was the 12-step sponsor. Right, going back to these I choose to go to AA, going back to these AA meetings of guys that had known me or going in and out in the past, and they would see me, right? And they'd be like, instead of like, oh, how long is it going to last this time, Justin? I give you two or 3 months, right? It was the people that came up to me and be like, Justin, so glad you're back, man. So anything we could do to help you out, anything we can help you with. And so I'm blessed to have the sponsor I have in my life. His name's Bob. He's got over 25 years sober. And man, it was like it's almost like the father-son relationship at first when someone walks you through those 12 steps, but then they become like lifelong friends after that. And so this man has helped me out with so much. And then next is having life mentors. Man, this is such an important part of this process. I'm taking a little time here because I want to say, like, if you ask me what's the one thing that I can do or what's one thing to help you out so much, especially in the beginning, it was having these guys like this in my life that I could pick up the phone to, that I could reach out to, that I could ask for help, and they could walk me through things, right? And so, man, having I got mentors in my life. It's like, I encourage you, find someone who has what you want and just start hanging out with them, right? Ask them, hey, man, man, can you help me out? Whatever that looks like. For me, I got guys in my life that like they're huge men of God. Like find someone who's been seeking God longer than you've been alive, right? That's a very, very important part, right? Next, after that, like I got guys in my life that are an amazing husband, right? Because that's a big part of my journey. I take my marriage seriously also, right? They're amazing husbands. They're amazing fathers, right? They're successful financially, and as a result of that, they're some of the most generous people I ever met in my entire life. That's everything I want to be like, right? So those are the guys that I try to surround myself with. That's a very, very important number one thing, man. Have mentors, have people in your life that you can reach out to. All right. Next, I think a lot of us, we get sad or upset when it's like, man, I'm doing the right thing, and like, man, the family isn't recognizing it, right? Like, I mean, I got a month and a half sober. How come everyone's not welcoming me back with open arms? It's like, hold on one second. What about the other 300 times you promised them that this was real and you didn't come through and deliver on that? Like, you got to give some people time, man. The steps are in order for a reason. Right? I mean, it took my dad like 3 years to start messing with me to even think that this was real, right? And so, my mom, like, as things started to change, and I was able to stay with, going back to my story, able to stay with someone sober on their couch. I didn't know nothing about the sober living houses, or didn't know where they were, or how you could get into them. And so finally, after like 6 months or so, my mom like came up to me and she's like, what's going on with you? Because I've never seen anything like this from you ever in the past. And she's like, and how come you're not trying to like convince me that this is the time that you're going to be sober forever? Because that's what she was used to, right? And I said, Mom, like, I don't have to convince you of nothing. In fact, I didn't even bring up the subject to any of my family members. I let them ask questions about it if they wanted to, but all I did was suit up and show up every single day, right? And I'm trying to tell you, when you're on that path of doing the next right thing, when you're going after God and He's working in your life, when you're putting the principles of the 12 steps in your life every single day, like real people that knew you, they're going to see the difference in you, right? They're going to see a change. Like, you don't have to tell anybody anything. They're going to know that something truly has changed in you. And man, so don't fret if people aren't taking you back right off rip, right? I'm coming close to my time here, but just some other things I'm gonna quickly share with you. A big part of this process is helping others. Right? Helping others. That's very, very important. Like, my life's dream, my life's mission, even before I got sober, I would see people speak at places, and I'm like, man, like, that's what I want to do. Like, I want to work one-on-one with people. I want to pour into people's lives. I want to give back and pull someone out from that same hell that I was once stuck in. And so I'm going to tell you, I truly believe that, our purpose, God's purpose for us, is going to vary a little bit for every single person in this room, but I promise you, part of the purpose is all common, every single one of us, and that's to help someone else, right? That's to help somebody else. All that pain, all that heartache, everything that we've been through up to this point, like, that's not wasted, right? That could be used for a reason. That can be used to help someone else that's stuck in that same pain and that same heartache, and you could be like, man, like, I know exactly how you feel. People don't want someone that's reading from a book, or oh, hey, man, I could try to relate to you. No, they want real. They want someone who knows exactly what they feel at that moment, and the struggle that they're going through, and you can be like, listen, like, I was once stuck in that same exact place, right? And I was able to get through that thanks to God and sobriety and some other things. Let me share what God did in my life. Let me tell you what He can do in your life. Let me show you with just a few simple things that I did. I'll make some suggestions to you. See if that can help you out. I truly believe that that's an important part of this process. Man, my life's mission. Like, I'm so thankful for what God led me to do, because I'm living in purpose every single day, right? And so, a big part of this process is like, man, what was different this time than all those other times? All those other times is like, I just kind of like woke up and just hoped that I could make it through sober on that particular day. I thought that's what this was all about, was just refraining from using drugs and alcohol. And it took God putting some guys in my life to show me that, like, well, that's got to be number one, because without that, we have nothing, right? That's got to be first place, man. But this is about so much more than this. This is about changing the old person. right? This is about asking God what his will is for our life and living in that purpose every single day. Like, it might not seem like the first job you get sober, right, is serving a big purpose, but I promise you, man, if you show up to that job and you show up on time and give it everything you got, man, God's going to open another door. He's going to open another door after that. And at some point, man, he's going to have you in a place where you're living in purpose. And I truly believe that when we're living in our purpose, we don't need to pick up a drink or a drug, right? I have no need to pick up a drink or a drug today. I got a few more minutes. Are we coming up on it? All right, I'll go quick. He asked me to stay at 25. So I'm just going to jump down to this because I think this is important, man. We got a lot of people that have been dying lately. We got a lot of people going in and out. And so I hear in the beginning all the time, it's like some people talk about, man, they came to Christ. As soon as you accept Jesus, you're a new creature in Christ and everything's removed from you. You're no longer an addict and an alcoholic. And they say, hey, man, I've never had a craving since. Like, that is awesome. Like, if that's your story, you need to be thanking the Lord every single day that that's your story. Didn't quite go that way for me. May have not gone that way for you, right? I was to the point where sometimes I was questioning God, like, did I do something wrong? Like, I think I believe, but I just find myself relapsing over and over again. And man, it took guys telling me, like number one, like, it's all about the relationship, right? It's all about the relationship, taking that time every day to enter into prayer with them, to get into the Word, to take our sobriety seriously every single day, and man, knowing what we're going to do when that moment that a thought for a drink or a drug comes across our minds. And so I want to leave this with you because I feel like it's really important, man. Like if you have a using thought, even after you came to Christ, after you've been sober this time, guess what? It happens to a lot of us, right? I'm going to suggest if 51% of you wants to be sober, more than 49% of you wants to use, you'll do something different in that moment when that happens. So three suggestions I want to make to you is one, like going to God in that moment. Like begging God with I'm telling you, like on your knees, like from the bottom of your soul, like, God, like, please take this thought for a drink or a drug out of my head. I know what's going to happen if I stick a needle in my arm again. There's no possible way it's not going to end the same way it did 180 times prior to this. God, please, I'm asking you to show up right now. Remove this thought. Help me out in this moment. Man, I used to work in a place in the first year of sobriety where like everybody was high except me. Right? And I'm telling you, we're all sharks, right? We got discernment. I just watch the activity, everybody, and I'm like, yep, they're all getting it from him. That's the one dealing it. Like, I could have gone right there. And I'm telling you, there was a couple times where I was so close, man, no one to turn to in that place. And I would lock myself in the bathroom and beg God to take this thought for a drink or drug out of my head, crying in the mirror. And I'm trying to tell you, that's how I came to God right there, when I started to feel something off of those prayers. And I'm like, this is real. Right? This is real. This ain't just something a pastor suggested or the AA book said I need to get a higher power. Like, this is real. God showed up. He helped me out in that moment. Like, go to God, right? Amen. Next is picking the phone up when that thought comes across your mind. And this is why it's so important to have mentors. I'm going to be the one to suggest men should go to men and women should go to women. But having these relationships already built, right? That you've already been talking to these people for a minute, so it's not weird on the first time, right? You've already been talking to them. You've already had a dialogue with them. And so you could pick up the phone. And man, I'm telling you, especially in the beginning, when I'll pick up the phone and be like, man, I'm about to say bump it and go back out, right? Well, why? Let's talk about it for a minute. He would talk me through the whole entire thing. And I'm trying to tell you, every single time after that 10 or 15 minute phone call, I didn't want to use again. Right? I didn't want to use. It's just a feeling. It's just a thought. And when we got people to talk us through it and to help us process through what's going on in our minds that even led to that, man, I promise you that is a very, very important part of this process. And having multiple people, right? Because not everyone's going to be available every second of the day. I'm calling this guy twice. If he don't answer, I'm calling someone else, right? I got to let someone know these thoughts that are going through my head. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this, thinking it through. They get it through. We love playing that highlight reel of that one time when it was great, right? Like, for real. Like, every time we have a using thought, it's that one time when it was awesome, right? And I'm going to speak in a sick way almost tonight because I just keep it real. Like, if we would use once, it would probably feel good because we have zero tolerance, right? We haven't done anything in a while. But so we just think about that part, and then it sounds like a good idea, and that's what takes us out. Now I think, wait, hold on, I might do it once. Yeah, I might feel, okay, whatever it is. But then after that, oh man, I'm going to have to hide it from my wife, right? And then I'm going to have that guilt and that shame follow me along. Then I got to start hiding it from everybody, and then I'm going to start thinking about it again, and that's all it's going to be on my mind. And how am I going to get away so I can use here and I can use there? And then before you know it, all of a sudden I'm back out on the street. I've lost everything. My family don't want nothing to do with me. All these people in the community I built a relationship with, the sheriff of Manatee County, they're going to be done with me because I messed up yet again. And I'm going to lose everything, 40-something years old, and be back out on the street homeless. My kids probably don't even want to talk to me anymore. And now I got to hit the reset button again and start again. Suddenly don't sound like a good idea anymore, right? And I played that tape all the way through, man. For me, I have told myself there is no possible way that I'm going to do one hit of bud, one drink, and I don't care what it is, man. I put anything into my system, and it is over for me. There's no possible way the same thing ain't going to happen the other 180 times, right? It's going to, right? So I tell myself, man, I play the tape all the way through, and I'm like, yeah, nice one, devil. You're not going to get me on that one today, buddy, right? And so I just encourage you, man, 3 things that thought comes across your mind. Beg God to take that thought out, right? Reach out to someone and let them know where you're at and think it all the way through, man. So that's all I got tonight. Thank you guys so much.